At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our first commencement speaker, the class of 2016 Scholar of Scholars, Gaurav Budkule.
Thank you. Principal Christensen, honored guests, Superintendent Vital, esteemed faculty, families, and friends of the class of 2016. Good afternoon. I would sincerely like to express my gratitude for being able to speak here tonight. I'm sure we've all learned many important life lessons throughout these 4 years, and I would like to share one such experience that expanded my overall understanding of life and the world around me. I know that many of you have had equally powerful experiences, and I hope that by sharing this, we can all gain something personally. In my sophomore year, I chose to go on the school Spanish trip to Peru during spring break. I'd been taking European history that year, and we learned a lot about the fascinating differences in the cultures of the European continent. This profoundly changed my mindset about the world as I went to Peru, because I felt the desire to do more than the average tourist and to explore the lives and cultures of people from a distant place like South America, even though the purpose of our trip was only to learn Spanish and live with a host family. Little did I know that my choice to get involved would affect the way in which I saw the world forever. It all began with my host family, who picked me up from the airport. They lived in a small, unpainted brick home on the slopes of the Andes in the ancient Inca city of Cusco. We routinely spoke about their lives, and what seemed to be on their minds most was their children. Their only desire as parents was that their children be educated and make a difference in the world. I could sense the worried tone in their voices, but they were proud knowing that their kids were happy. That morning, I was taking a taxi to the academy, and I greeted the driver as I entered. This cab had torn seats and a malfunctioning AC, so I tried to open the windows, but they were stuck in place. I had a very surprised look on my face because I had never been in those conditions. But to my delight, I found the driver to be very friendly and open. He knew that I was uneasy because of my body language, but after a while, we slowly worked up a conversation. He said he wanted to give me some advice about life because he saw something different in me, and he knew that I would listen. He urged me to always try and be nice and understanding of others because not everything in life comes easy for everyone. The conversation became much more personal as we got closer to the Spanish school, and since I was early that day, the driver took me on a longer path so that we could speak more. He also advised me to never exclude anyone for being different because he had experienced injustice himself for that reason. When it finally came time to bid him farewell after this long conversation, he said that he wouldn't accept my payment because he doesn't ask for money from a friend. But out of all the people I met on that trip, the tour guide was the most inspiring of all. We met him on the bus that was taking us to Machu Picchu. The tour guide was a man who had seen much and learned much, either from his extensive knowledge of 6 languages or from his experiences with tourists of many countries. We got off the bus, and I took the opportunity to ask him about Peruvian culture. He told me of vast empires, ancient buildings, and the legacies that the Inca people have left behind. The discussion transitioned into modern times, and he described cultures I had never heard of. I couldn't help but notice that it seemed unfitting for someone of his intellect to walk alongside me sharing all this information while wearing a simple white shirt and jeans. He introduced many cultures from Africa, Asia, Europe, and more, and I frantically tried to make sense of everything I was hearing. Out of all the things I thought about, one aspect stood out clearly: that there are many similarities and differences. For instance, I never realized that there are some people that celebrate life, while there are others that celebrate death. Some give importance to the old, and some give importance to the young. However, nearly all cultures strongly emphasize education. He said it would make me a better person if I remembered all these cultural intricacies, because then the world would not seem so foreign anymore. It was at that moment that I had an epiphany about humanity as a whole. There's so much more similarity in the traditions of people in this world than I had thought. To some extent, all of us have the same ambitions for ourselves, and there's only a small difference in our beliefs and customs. Inside, all we want is to be accepted by those around us, because humans are innately social creatures that want to connect. I feel that it is a very appropriate time to share this message, because we all have unique hopes going into this world. But inside, we don't want to be excluded for being different. Throughout high school, many of us have discovered that working in a team is better than working alone. For academic teams like Science Olympiad, as well as athletic teams like tennis that I participated in, both taught me the same lesson about this sense of togetherness being better for everyone. We're on the cusp of entering this real world that we've been hearing about for the past 12 years, and recognizing this reality of togetherness will be incredibly important if we wish to change society for the better. I know many of you have already formed connections with those around you during these 4 years, even though we are all very much individual. Our class is extremely multicultural, and we will soon be the example of what it means to be American, because we have proven that these cultural differences do not divide us, but instead fortify us as a class, giving us unity in diversity. In your future, whether you attend a university, go directly for a job, serve our country in the armed forces, or live outside the country, I strongly encourage you to make these special connections with others, because they are the most memorable part of our lives. In many ways, we're all parting ways after this day, but never forget the lifelong friendships that we have forged here. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2016.
Thank you, Gaurav.